Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Holy Plot. This is James and Jacob with one final Fionna and Cake video to wrap up this season.
Yeah, no Liam today, which is fine. Thank God. But we want to thank you guys all for 100 plot holes strong. The Fiona and Cake era phase of Holy Plot, whatever you want to call it, it's been really fun. We got Loki coming out soon. We got Doom Patrol and more animation. But for now, James, what is next for Adventure Time?
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about this in the last couple videos about how we want to see this franchise continue. And I think that we've kind of seen two camps pop up.
Hmm.
There are people who are asking about a Fionna and Cake season 2, if that should happen. And then there are also people who I think are like, hey, let's keep doing more spin-offs. We've had Distant Lands, we've had Fionna and Cake, let's do something new.
I'm definitely in the season two camp. I think season two is a possibility. I do. I think it could follow a similar path to a show like Korra, which was like originally just like a limited series and then got up to an entire four-season series. So I think we could get something like that. And there's also, it's flashing up on the screen now. There's the album ordeal. If you're a part of the fan base, you've probably heard of this, where the album for the show had season one on it, kind of implying that there's more to come. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, so I know I've said this in I think the past couple videos. I completely flipped. I
Hmm.
originally was like, man, I want a season 2 of this. This is so good. But I thought the ending was so well done and it resolved all of these storylines and these character arcs so well that I was like, I don't want it messed with. I don't want it unraveled.
I think the idea we came up with the rotating characters does a good job of avoiding that issue. If you want to explain that.
Yeah, so this was a tweak that we were thinking of that I think could really make a season 2 work without undoing almost like how much of a movie ending the first season felt like. I think that what this show would need to do to evolve is to let Simon go. His arc is over, which is very true to the lesson that he learns by the end of the season. It's time to let go. That's where the rotating character idea comes in.
I mean, that's kind of what Corey did too with its villains. Every single season was kind of like a new threat and idea that kind of allowed the show to have some longevity. I think this show should definitely do that too.
Yeah.
What
So the
characters would you want?
Yeah, so the idea here is just, if you want to do more seasons of this, have a new character pair up with Fionna and Cake for the season-long adventure. And I think that there were two characters, and we did get Liam's opinion on this. He's just not here. Uh, we did get two characters that I think would be good, which is one is Adult Finn, and we can start with that. Jacob, what do you think of the idea of Adult Finn joining in with Fionna and Cake for a new multiverse adventure?
Yeah, I mean, I think Adult Finn, he very briefly showed up in Fiona and Cake, and I just kind of want more of him. I think where he's at is you do have to handle it delicately, because I do think he is like, I hate to use the word like concluded, but he's definitely at like a good place with his character where I don't want it to be like oversaturated too much. But I mean, I think it would definitely be like ripe for exploring both Fiona and Finn together. We kind of haven't gotten enough of that.
Well, here's the way that I think that they make it work best. And they've done this before when it comes to sprinkling in stuff that they want to deal with later, because they even set up a little bit of, hey, maybe Fiona and Cake aren't just this Ice King fan fiction. They had a little bit of hints of that in the original show.
Hmm.
I think that they've very much played around with this connection between Finn and Huntress Wizard. Like they're kind of meant to be. You see it in multiple worlds.
Yeah.
So I think that if they bring in adult Finn, I think it'd be cool that, hey, let's have Huntress Wizard kind of come along for the adventure. And I think that could be a lot of fun to keep exploring and developing that.
Yeah, and the other character we talked about was Star Marceline. James, you definitely are a Marceline enjoyer. I
Oh
think she's
yeah,
probably your favorite character.
my favorite characters for this franchise were Marceline and Ice King, and that was before they decided to reveal that they had the whole Last of Us thing going on. So I
Hmm.
loved that when I first watched that. I was like, you
Yeah,
gotta
for
be
sure.
kidding me.
Perfect.
Simon and Marceline. Yeah, no, I was super, super interested in the vampire world that they set up in this season. Like when
Hmm.
they cut away from it, I was like, man, they've got to come back to this.
Yeah, it
Like
kind of
that's
feels like a backdoor pilot sort of ordeal.
it does. So I think what I would like to see, because they do have some hints of what this Marceline's past is, a
Hmm.
connection to PB. It's my theory that for a certain amount of time that she pretended to flip to the good side to infiltrate and then eventually she betrayed Bubblegum, and then that's like when the whole rip out the eye thing came in and probably killed a bunch of her troops. And I think that led to all the angst that we saw in their episode.
Yeah, and I think a big concern that we have is we just don't want Fiona and Cake's growth undone. So I think pairing them with a character like her, we can kind of like flip Fiona and Cake into more of like a mentorship kind of role. That would definitely propel them in a new direction. And I think with the season 2, honestly, I don't think Jane. I mean, I'm new to Adventure Time, but I don't think people were like begging for a Fiona and Cake show, and it seems like everyone's kind of loving it. So honestly, I'm willing to be surprised. I'm sure they'll take it in a wild direction and have fun with it. And I don't think they would ever do it if it wasn't fresh or they didn't have a good idea for it.
Speaking of that, whether it's a season 2 or something else, there's definitely ideas. A quote came out from the showrunner, Adam Muto, and he basically said, hey, we pitched so many different ideas to Warner Brothers about things that we'd want to do, and we were just hoping to get some kind of green light, and that's how Fiona and Cake came to be. It sounds like he just went in with a whole folder of ideas, and this is the one that stuck.
So what are some other ideas you'd want?
I think I've heard people say, what if we do another anthology thing like Distant Lands? I don't know if I personally want to see that. I'd be okay if it came out, but I'd want it to be like a middle step to something like this that we just got.
I could see them getting into a rhythm, like Distant Lands season focus spinoff for Pete.
Now, if I think that they set up something, and this is maybe what I think is the most likely for them to do, is revisit Beth and Shermie from the finale, the kind of distant future parallel to Finn and Jake. They definitely, I thought that was very pointed to revisit them. I could see that. I don't know if that's what I want.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
I don't know if it's what I want personally, but then again, I didn't know I wanted this.
Exactly what I was saying, yeah.
I'd be down for it. But there are a couple other things that I had in mind that I thought could be cool. One in particular, which is kind of to take our season 2 thing that we just pitched, and I am not against full focus on adult Finn for a storyline. Mm-hmm. I'm not against that at all.
Yeah, that I think that would definitely be like the biggest deal for them to do.
Oh, that's basically like a straight up sequel to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't have it be like a Boruto situation,
No, not Steven Universe future, but
no
Adventure Time future.
I would say you should have Huntress Wizard be kind of the co-lead, which basically that's almost like the exact same pitch for Fiona and Cake season 2, but flip who the main characters are.
Yeah, I mean you can even have them show up too.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is you can have Fiona and Cake play a supporting role if you want to just leave their arcs kind of resolved. Then they could be supporting, and you have a group of 4 there, which I think could be really cool.
And I wish Liam was here to talk about this, but I do think the Lich is going to be in the next thing regardless. That's not the end of his character, in my opinion.
No, I think we've had some resolution with Golb, which I've seen people suggest that Golb may have like reincarnated. There's other hints like the bus when Simon says, "Hey, where are you going?" It flashes in that strange language, and apparently it says comet. They like to toy around with what they could do in the future, but I think that if there's something to revisit, I'm cool for a new villain, but I don't think that's the end of the Lich. We saw.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a climactic ending. I think what we keep coming back to here is that they were clearly planting seeds for stuff.
I think that regardless of whether it's a season 2 or if it's a brand new spinoff, it's very obvious that this is a universe that now they've revisited, and it has shown that there's totally new stories to tell with new characters, and it feels just as fresh. I, for one, definitely want to see more.
Yeah, me too. I think everybody else does. I don't think anyone's done with Adventure Time.
Yeah, so you guys will have to let us know. Do you want to see a season 2 of Fiona and Cake, or do you want to see a brand new spinoff? What are you wanting to see? Who are you wanting to see?
And when it comes out in 2 years, subscribe, and it'll show up in your sub box.
We will be there.
2 years from now. Yeah, we'll be there.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you think in the comments on what you want to see from Adventure Time going forward. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes, thank you very much. We're on the road to 1,000. We're now in the triple digits club. So subscribe before slots run out. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.